like, okay, that's funny. What's next? That's funny. I just recognize with comedy, like I love process, right? Like, don't get me started about painters. The reason I have so many paintings is because I love talking to painters about their process. Because I feel like, you know how there's like the artists that'll come out and they'll be dope, and then there'll be another artist, and that artist will just copy how they do it, which is missing the point. The point is you need to learn from the process and apply their process to your vision, but some people just copy the vision. So really, you can learn from any creative person's process. And and I love painters for this reason, and I took comedy for that reason. I was like, what can I learn from a comedy process? Because I realized that the key to comedy wasn't being funny, because really everybody's capable of being funny. If you don't make your friends laugh, then I don't know why they're friends with you. Right? Like it's like that's not an A-list friend. So we can all be funny, but what are the pieces? And I was hanging with my girl Madonna, and we went to Yuck Yucks, and we were just doing a hang, and they had a bunch of comics. And what I noticed was there's a group of Jamaican women directly in front of the stage. And they were out for a night on the town. And for me, I'm like, yo, a group of Jamaican women out for a night on the town is the most lit thing there is. But all these comedians were going up and they were kind of scared of them. They were kind of intimidated of them. So they avoided them. And then just before the headliner, they said, oh, we got this unknown comedian who's just going to come out and he's just getting out there. So he wants to try a few jokes. And it was this dude, Russell Peters, who's actually a very famous comedian who was trying out some of his new set. And when he jumped on stage, what he did was he immediately went to the group of Jamaican women and riled them up. And once they got riled up, the whole thing changed. And so, what I learned that night about comedy was three things. What you need is not actually being funny. What you need is the ability to write, because you need to write your jokes. Like it sounds like they're making it up, but no, they write the jokes. Number two, the ability to perform. So you need some sense of stagecraft, and you can't be scared by being on stage in front of people. And number three is the most elusive thing, which I would say is a bit of a chip on your shoulder. It's kind of like, I want you to like me, but I want you to like me on my own terms. I'm not willing to stoop to you so that you like me, but I still want you to like me. And I feel like that combination of things is what I figured was the comedian's mix. And I felt like I had all three of those. And so, to be honest, comedy came really natural, not because I'm inherently funny, but because I actually have spent a lot of time writing, being on stage, and having a chip on my shoulder. So I actually was like, but again, I'm just learning from the process, right? And what I love about comedians is just, I feel like comedy is the hardest thing because, if you're on stage playing a song, people will give you a song. They might give you two songs to impress them, right? So you might have a good 5 minutes of someone's attention. You get on a stage for comedy and they don't laugh for 5 seconds, you are failing. And everybody knows. so, so comedy really got me to cherish in my music performances. It had me thinking that, you know what? Every movement, every second, every motion, every word counts when you're on stage. And don't waste it. Don't waste it. And that was really helpful. And it also really tightened up my writing, all my writing, like from lyrics to books. It just tightened it up supremely. So yeah, that's what's up. Like I recommend that to artists. Like if you're learning, do something you're not good at. and it will make you better at the thing you are good at. I mean, first of all, the beginner's mind is the most powerful weapon you have as an artist, right? As soon as you get comfortable in what you're doing, it becomes stale. As soon as you're repeating yourself, you always have to find ways to challenge yourself, right? It's like if you think about nature, if there's a mango tree and it got some I love my Caribbean references. Yeah, it's a fire song. Yo, Mango Cheese, my tune is coming out. It's on the new record. But if there's a mango tree and it had mango last year, mango season's in July, by the way, for those of y'all that don't know. Um, if it had mangoes last July, it's not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna take this year off. I had mangoes last year. It's cool. It's like, no, it's gonna find a way to regenerate, to make the same but make it new. And I feel like as artists, we need to be about that. And so when we talk about, to your question about how do you deal with that failure? I mean, I embrace it because I recognize, like, how did you learn to play the cello in the first place, Jordan? You probably failed and failed and failed and failed, and you kept trying. So the path to yeah, we still do, yeah. The path to success is paved with failure. So when you feel failure, that means you're succeeding. You're doing it right. Just learn from it and try again. Yeah. And so that's my attitude towards it. And I always want I heard John Lennon talk about how he started writing exclusively on piano. And they asked him why, and he said, because I'm no good at it. And his idea was, if I play guitar, which is my instrument, I'm going to fall into my guitar player things that I've learned and trusted for years. But when I go on this instrument that I don't understand, there's an alertness that comes with being a beginner. There is an awareness, there's an in the momentness that comes with it. And that's where all creativity should come from that freshness, from that urgency, from that necessity. And it's almost about to fall apart. And that's where you spontaneously achieve miracles. That's where you want to be. So I feel like the challenge, sometimes I won't touch my guitar for 10 months, but I'll be singing a lot. And when I come back, I'll be better at playing guitar, even though I touched my guitar for 10 months, right? So, right, right. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned on that exact point is I had a homegirl she had a master's degree in piano performance and composition and singing. She was a vocalist, composer, and piano player. Those are the three things she was known for. And I booked her for a show for International Women's Day at a place called the Boathouse in Kitchener one year. And she taught me a great lesson. She showed up and she did not play piano, she did not sing, and she did not play any compositions, but she was completely engaging. She got up and she talked. And the lesson that she taught me was that your real instrument is not your instrument. This is your real instrument. Yeah, this is your real instrument. So if you're working on this, you're actually getting better at whatever your instrument is. I mean, there's the mechanics, but once you get to a certain point with mechanics, you can practice for a day or two and be back where you were. But the concept of thinking through what it is you're doing and what your intent is, that you can work on. You can learn. I've learned more about writing from painters than I have from writers. I've learned more about performing music from theater than I have from musicians performing. That's just facts. It's process that is the work, and intent that is the tip of the spear, and it's your being that is the instrument. And whatever medium you choose or to use it, or whatever instrument you choose to focus that on, it isn't the point. It's like the instrument is just the hand pointing at the moon. It's not the moon. So yeah, so I mean, I love this stuff, Jordan. We could go deep. I love talking about art process. Don't get me started. You already got me started. I love this